Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of our entitled people. In today's episode, friend thinks she is entitled to know everything about my life, kicks me out over new boyfriend. Dude, you just cut off the wrong funeral. Tonight you will be visited by 3 smiles. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Friend thinks she is entitled to know everything about my life, kicks me out over new boyfriend. This happened about a year ago. I moved in with a good friend L, as she had a room to spare and I couldn't afford my own place at the time. It's in the past, but I feel like I need to share some stories because every time I look back I just think. While living there I had a new boyfriend. Elle knew I had broken up with my ex months before that, so she seemed curious to know about the new man I met, but didn't know I had been dating him. She hated my ex while I was with him, for no reason other than that he wasn't the most handsome and a few years older than me, so I didn't tell her much about my new boyfriend. Elle and me went out shopping one day, and I wanted to buy a pair of sunglasses for said new boyfriend. I asked for her opinion as I wasn't sure which ones looked better. She goes on a rant to tell me that she can't help me if she doesn't know what he looks like and stomps out of the store. Mind you that she's never asked to see any picture of him whatsoever. Fast forward 3 months later, boyfriend sends me flowers in the mail as we hadn't seen each other in a while. Elle didn't ask about the flowers but seemed very angry that I had gotten them. I still hadn't told her that I had been seeing someone at the time. She goes on to stalk my Instagram followers, finds my boyfriend and sees that he had posted a picture of the two of us. Elle gets mad at me for not telling her that I had been seeing him, yells at me, it demands I tell her why I didn't tell her about him or pack my things and leave. Yeah, I left a few hours later. This doesn't relate to the title, but another time, I overheard her conversation with her mom on the phone. This was around her birthday. Her older brother has gifted her concert tickets and offered her to stay in his flat for a weekend as he was living in a big city. Elle rants to her mom about this not being a proper/appropriate birthday present. Mom agrees. I've never met anyone as spoiled and entitled as her. It blows my mind, really. Excuse my English. It's not my first language. Are you sure your friend didn't want to be more than a friend? I had that thought for a second. But she didn't really act like she wanted to be more than friends, so no. Yeah, she was jealous or secretly in love with you. Yeah, though I think if she was in love with me she wouldn't have done other things. Like forbidding me from touching her dog, lol. Forbidding me from smoking on the balcony, but she could do it. She just wanted to hurt me. Yeah, she sounds to have some strong narcissistic traits and was a control freak at that. Hoped you never had to see her again after that mess. Yeah, looking back she definitely was a narcissist. And I haven't, luckily. Dude, you just cut off the wrong funeral. Yesterday I found myself in an unfortunate situation. I had to be an adult. Horrifying, I know. It's all sunshine and daisies when you're a kid and you see all the grown-ups getting to stay up as late as they want and buy nice things. Now I go to bed earlier than I did when I was a kid and have to do things like make myself go to the doctor or what have you. Pretty sure I would have stayed at Toys R Us kid if I'd known how much of a pain in the butt errands are. So I was coming from a doctor's appointment where I got shots and no lollipop, which is bogus, and going to spend way too much money on clothing for myself. I found myself driving hither and yon, mentally chiding myself for being so short-sighted when I was a kid. I had it made. Then there was a very long string of cars with hazards on and little flags all making the same turn. Know what's pretty high up there on the whole adulting importance scale? Not screwing with a funeral procession. When you see a hearse followed by a whole big long line of cars with their hazards on in the US, it's a funeral procession. It can suck if you're in a hurry, but there are certain things you simply do not do. Such as honking at a funeral procession. Or shouting "what the hell? Let's go" at the top of your lungs at a funeral procession. Or getting fed up, cutting around the 3 cars in front of you, and then bullying your way through a funeral procession making a turn. You know when it's extra super duper important to not do that? When it's a firefighter's funeral procession. Not only because this is a person who willingly enters burning buildings to save people and thus merits respect. You ever see a burning building? I have. You know what I did? Stood there slack-jawed and just watched, but because where there's a funeral for a firefighter there are other emergency responders. Like EMS. Or cops. Lots. And lots. And lots. And lots of cops. All of whom are not in a good mood. So I'm the first in a line of spectators at a T intersection where the funeral procession is driving towards me and turning right. Some idiot 2 cars back in a Porsche starts honking impatiently after 2 minutes. At minute 3 he sticks his head out the window and shouts something out the window, like it's going to help. Gives up on honking and just lays on the horn at minute 4. The procession proceeds because funeral. I roll up my window because loud. At minute 5 the Porsche decides the heads-up play is to just cut the wheel, zip around the cars in front of them, and then shove their way through the funeral procession. He made it about 5 car lengths past cutting off a funeral procession before he got cut off and pulled over by a state trooper, who immediately had backup in the form of the next 3 cars in the procession. They were still there when the procession finally ended. I may or may not have waved on my way past. Porsche guy was just dying to be a part of the procession. Love it when impatient people become stuck waiting on a policeman to walk up to their window. Question: what's the difference between a Porsche and a porcupine? A porcupine has its pricks on the outside. Stupid dude. Have to say this was well written and made me laugh though. Tonight you will be visited by 3 smiles. This just happened a week or so ago. I am taking a break, as I always seem to be when strange things happen. On this occasion I was in my own house, laying back on my sofa catching up on the huge pile of unread books I have acquired and never really got around to reading. Again, why do these things always seem to happen when I am reading? Anyway. I lay back, popped a mint imperial into my mouth, a current weakness of mine, turned the page and continued to follow the adventures of a bunch of children fighting a time-traveling warlock using the power of friendship, as one does. I assume. I'm not in that line of work myself. Suddenly, there is a hammering on the door followed by a tiny tapping, followed by another hammering. I looked through the peephole. A horrendously distorted balloon-like visage stared back at me. This is normal for a peephole though. I put the chain on the door and opened it. Outside was a lady and 2 small children. All smiling, uncomfortably showing more white teeth than I am accustomed to seeing. I am not in the dentistry line of work either. Silence. Smiles. Nothing. Yes? I venture. Smiles. What can I do for you? I ask. Smiles. Merry Christmas, stated the little girl, still smiling. Merry Christmas to you too, young lady, I said. Was there anything? Slowly, the mother raised her hand and held it out. You forgot to drop them off, so we came to collect them, she said, though her nearly perfect teeth. What was that? I asked. Our presents, said the girl. Grandma always gave up presents when we lived next to her. Still smiles. I'm sorry? I'm not related to you, I said. No. You don't understand, the lady screamed angrily through her fixed smile. My children want their gifts now. It's your job. Now, I am not in the Santa Claus line of work and I had enough at this point. The smiles were getting on my nerves, so I just closed the door and watched through the peephole as the smiles fell and the woman started cursing. The little girl burst out crying, but you promised mommy. You said he had a play set for me. I then watched as they moved to the next house, fixed smiles returning. I'm just not going to try analyzing this, as I am not in the psychology line of work. Someone has been taking some seriously illegal drugs and it has fried what few brain cells that they had. They are now totally delusional and seriously in need of some time in a padded cell with soft food and no sharp objects. Are you referring to the OP or the possibly demented lady/kids? Genuine question. IMO, the story feels pretty made up to me. Too much info in there to pad it and too much coloring of the scene. Who knows? Maybe it really happened. Next time call the non-emergent line. She sounds unhinged and that often ends up meaning dangerous. Alas, you were visited by the ghosts of presents past. A rare occurrence, mind you. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.